Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm here to give you my WWE 205 live review for February 28th, 2017. And as you can tell, I'm not at home and I'm in the dog. That's because I'm at my friend. Huh? Oh, I can. I'm not in the. Guess what? I'm not in the dark anymore. But I'm not in my normal area just because of the fact that I'm at my friend's house. We're actually gearing up to watch Fastlane in 32 minutes. So my friend may shout things about what he thinks about 205 Live. He may not. Depends what he's feeling. But yeah, I know I missed 205 Live. That's because I was busy doing other things. And I just didn't have as much time to watch it. So I'm just waiting for my notes to pull up. So I can talk about what happened. It's just taking a while. I just gotta plug in. I didn't come prepared. I didn't plug in my computer. What do you think of 205 Live?
Garbage.
Yeah, I don't think they heard you.
Garbage.
Why is it garbage?
All bitches.
Since when?
Since always.
What about Neville? You like Neville?
He's a wimp. He's a wimp.
Yeah, that's Thea has a
I know
walker.
he does.
I know you're gonna listen to it. But anyhow, if you didn't watch my last video, he got the new Switch, so he's addicted to that right now. But anyhow, let's talk about 205 Live, because that will forever be better than the Switch.
Get out.
Anyhow, I'm gonna sell you on 205 Live. This episode's gonna sell you right here. So, 205 Live took place on February 28th, 2017. Does that sell you so far?
No.
We had Corey Graves, Mauro Ranallo, and Austin Aries on commentary for this show. And then Jack Gallagher got interviewed, and he talks about Tom Phillips asked him what to expect from Neville in his State of 205 Live address, and Jack Gallagher says that he expects Neville to diminish the cruiserweight division, to say that he's going to obliterate someone, and say that he's going to. He says that he's the king of the cruiserweights, but what Neville's not going to expect is to him to take the cruiserweight championship away from him. I thought it was a solid promo by Jack Gallagher. So Jack Gallagher cut a good promo. That was pretty good, huh?
You say so.
And then we had a good match. Listen to this match. It's a good match for you. Noam Dar with Alicia Fox ringside versus Lince Dorado. And this match was pretty good. During this, somebody comes out and hands Alicia Fox flowers and chocolates. We obviously know that it was Noam Dar. I thought there was going to be like an angle where it was going to end up being Rich Swann because he was watching backstage, but I guess they didn't go with that. So we didn't really see. So this distraction Noam Dar, and he nearly loses the matchup. And Lince Dorado dominates the first half of the matchup. He hits a high cross body, but then eventually Noam Dar kicks him in the shin, and Lince Dorado ends up falling face first into the apron. And Noam Dar dominates the matchup for a while, and eventually Lince Dorado starts to hit his comeback. He hits a springboard stunner, and then he hits a combrero on the outside. And then eventually Noam Dar hits a he also hits a backbreaker, and then eventually Noam Dar hits a running kick for the win. And afterwards he talks about how outside of the WWE he loves Alicia Fox. So that was Noam Dar right there. What do you think of Noam Dar?
I really wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
2 minutes.
But yeah, good match. I just don't really care about this whole Noam Dar thing with Alicia Fox. It needs to stop. Then we had the next segment. Austin Aries interviewed Akira Tozawa, and Austin Aries asked him the reason why he turned down Akira Tozawa, why he turned down the Brian Kendrick's help, and he says that the reason he did it was because he wants to do things here by himself. And Austin Ailey says that he respects that. He wants to be his own man. He says, what does he intend on doing now that he's trying to teach him his lessons? And he calls out the Brian Kendrick. He says he wants to fight. And the Brian Kendrick comes out. And he says that Akira Tozawa turned out the best opportunity of his career. And he says that he could have mentored him and he could have made him a champion, but he chose not to. So he says that he's going to continue to teach Akira Tozawa lessons week after week. And he asks him, then he keeps asking him questions, but he keeps cutting him off. And the Brian Kendrick says that you're going to learn your next lesson is that you need to take some English lessons before you can talk to me. And then Kendrick kind of walks off. I actually thought this was a good promo segment. I really don't get why this tag match between Akira Tozawa and Rich Swann and versus Noam Dar and the Brian Kendrick is taking place. It really should just be a one-on-one matchup between the Brian Kendrick and Akira Tozawa because that's the feud they're building to. So it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And my friend's looking at me like he doesn't, he'd rather not even see a cruiserweight matchup on the show. He just wants to see the main event as wrestling, not the cruiserweights, right?
Yep.
Not even the mid cards. Well, yeah, I mean, you like some of the mid-carders.
So, not much.
You're snoring. But anyhow, then we had the main event match on the show. It was a 6-man tag team match. Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Arya Daivari versus T.J. Perkins, Mustafa Ali, and Cedric Alexander. This match wasn't too bad. It just kind of was a bunch of guys thrown together, and nobody in this match is even doing anything. Which my friend is obviously happy about because it's cruiserweights. He doesn't want him doing nothing. The faces dominate the first half of the matchup. Cedric Alexander hits a dive on everybody, and T.J. Perkins goes to dive on everybody, and then Tony Nese takes him out. He throws him ribs first into the announce table, bounces his head off of it, and the heels dominate T.J. Perkins for a while. And then eventually Mustafa Ali gets the hot tag and he goes off on Drew Gulak and he ends up hitting the inverted 450 onto Drew Gulak. However, Arya Daivari puts his foot on the ropes, so the match is still going on. And Tony Nese, while the referee's distracted, ends up hitting a German suplex into the corner onto Mustafa Ali. So then Tony Nese gets tagged in. And T.J. Perkins gets tagged in, and he hits a Dead Nation kick on Tony Nese. But then eventually Drew Gulak interferes, and Tony Nese ends up hitting the running knee into the corner for the win. So Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Arya Daivari actually went over, which I was actually surprised about because normally when they have these tag matches, normally Gulak and Arya Daivari and Tony Nese lose. So I was actually kind of surprised to see them win. Then we had the actual main event segment of the show. It was Neville's WWE 205 Live address. And Neville talks about how when 205 Live came into the picture, it would have faded into obscurity if he didn't show up. And he says that he's brought this into prominence and he feels like that people haven't shown him the proper respect that he deserved. And then Jack Gallagher comes out and he says that this doesn't really feel like much of a history lesson. It just feels like that you're out here complaining and whining. Neville says to get out of his ring before he obliterates him and doesn't leave him in one piece before this Sunday. And then Jack Gallagher responds by saying that he's always better in one piece, but there's one problem, and he says that this is not your win, it's their win. And he says that I'm not leaving until you're beaten. So then Gallagher attacks him, but Neville beats the crap out of him for a while, hits a bunch of kicks on him. But then eventually Gallagher hits 3 drop kicks on him, and then he hits the headbutt on him, and then he goes for the running drop kick in the corner, but Neville rolls out of the ring. So then Gallagher goes on the outside and drop kicks Neville into the barricade, into the fans, and the show ends with Gallagher standing tall, which pretty much means that Neville's going to retain his title in a couple of minutes. So that was 205 Live. Not a bad show. I actually thought it was a solid show. I thought they did a good job building up to the matches they needed to build up to on the pay-per-view. Like the tag match with Akira Tozawa and Swann versus Kendrick and Noam Dar. Even though it really should be a one-on-one match, but I like the stuff they did with Kendrick and Tozawa. I did like the 6-man tag team match, even though it really didn't have much of a purpose. Noam Dar and Lince Dorado had a good match, and I like the stuff they did with Gallagher and Neville on this show. So overall, not a bad show. If I had to rate it, I'd rate it a 7 out of 10. A pretty good show. And that's pretty much it, though. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube videos, not YouTube videos, my YouTube channels, CM Brothers and Owen the Talkinator, and also make sure to subscribe to Wrestling Fortune 44.